All right, you're thinking about moving to Houston, Texas? You might think differently after this video. In fact, in this bucket here, I have 10 of the biggest problems when relocating to Houston. And wait, it's not what I think or what any local thinks. It's completely objective. You will never see another video like this. I had artificial intelligence scrape every single Reddit board, Facebook group, you name it. What are you guys most worried about? What are people moving here most searching? And what are the biggest holdups of people moving here to Houston, Texas? All of those are going to be answered. I will not sugarcoat any of them, and I will give you a true outsider's perspective. I moved here just over 5 years ago from the Pacific Northwest. I spent the majority of my life up near Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and also 2+ years after that down over in Oregon in the Portland area. So I'm here to tell you guys, growing up in North Idaho, just south of Canada, you couldn't get any different living than down here in the Sizzy South. So we're going to get right into this bucket. Again, this is completely objective, and the very first one is upside down. Hurricanes and weather. Good night. I got to start with that already. Well, I used to do these videos years ago, and I hadn't truly lived through a hurricane. Now, I used to be a journeyman lineman and work power lines, and I worked the aftermath of hurricanes, and there's really no natural disaster that's worse, but I finally lived through a hurricane last summer. We went through Hurricane Beryl. It came right up through Houston. I did receive quite a bit of damage to my house, and more on the mental side of things, my younger daughter actually got a little bit scared from these, and so anytime there's wind or lightning, which happens a lot down here, she does get pretty frightened. But with that being said, there are hurricanes here, so why talk about that? They do come. Here's the reality of what happens when a hurricane comes. Now, our house is now equipped with a full 26 kW generator, and I'm telling you right now, that's probably the #1 investment you want if you live here in Houston, especially if you're up in that northern or northeastern section like I am. You are living in the trees. These trees are everywhere. They fall, they take down power lines, and you may be out a couple days or a couple weeks. And when do these hurricanes come? Typically during the summer when it is oh so hot. So we had a full generator. We, like many Texans, me even being an outsider, welcomed multiple families into our house, charge phones, sleep, stay the night, soak up some AC. But you will be going out of power multiple times throughout the summers, the winters, the springs from just normal thunderstorms. I have never, and I mean never, seen rain like it does down here in Houston, Texas. In fact, right now you're watching a video. This was me just last week in the end of June driving to pick up my kids from a gymnastic camp. There was so much rain, and this happened within 5 minutes, that we were driving in 6 to 8 inches of water. It's spraying all over the place, and the thunder is so loud it rattles your windows and your cars. If you haven't been through a storm here in the South, that is going to be an eye-opening experience for you. Now, Jackson, what the heck happens with all that rain? I've actually got videos where I show my backyard floods within just a couple minutes. This stuff happens, and it happens a lot. And with all the clay that's here, instead of, soil, it doesn't permeate down through there. It just kind of rises up quick and then it shoots out. Those roads, once I picked up my kids and came back, they were basically out of water. So there are so many bayous, and that's why it's called the Bayou City. That's why you see all those drainages. Everywhere you look, drainage ditches. That water shoots down through the roads. There's drains everywhere. They get into the bayous. They flood out to Lake Houston or whatever, body of water, and they're gone. So it doesn't rise up in those storms and flood houses rarely ever. It's just going to rain like crazy. It's going to fill the streets. It's going to fill your backyard. And then that stuff drains out and it's gone. So it's actually kind of surprising how quickly that it moves on. Now, I will tell you, living here, that the hurricanes are not nearly what I worry about the most compared to what's in this bucket. But the last few things that I do want you to be prepared, because if you're an out-of-stater like me and you're not prepared, you must, and I mean must, if you're going to have generators or portable generators, have 5 or 10 gallons, 15 gallons of gas, get you a couple cases of water, get batteries and flashlights. All of these things, if you try to go get them when there's even a hurricane warning, even if it doesn't hit, they will be gone. The stores completely run out. So generators, all of that stuff, once you get here, just get it, make you a little hurricane stash, and you'll be all good. Oh, last but not least, if you're going to be losing power, if you have an electric water heater, you're not going to have hot showers. Secondly, if for some reason the water goes out, you get a bunch of 5-gallon buckets, and if you have a pool, you can actually go scoop that and throw it into the back of the toilet. Something I learned here too. Next up, let's get into the old bouquet here. Oh boy, this one's another one. This is actually one of the worst ones, the property taxes. I'm talking it should be criminal what they do to you here in Texas. Now, everybody heard, oh, there's no state income taxes. Oh, it's so cheap to buy these big Texas homes. You're dang right it is. It's unbelievable, especially compared to where I came from. But these property taxes, in fact, I got to show you something. You actually have the ability to fight your property taxes, and what they do here in Texas is highly criminal, I think. I cannot even believe the system they have. They literally do desktop appraisals. So they just kind of take round numbers around the area, and then they will assess your property. I had a vacation home down in Crystal Beach, Texas, just an hour and a half south. They slapped an extra $200,000 value on that thing. It was highway robbery. That increases your monthly payment $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 a month. It is unbelievable what they do. And if you do not know how to fight your taxes, you may just be stuck with it. I used to use a program called O'Connor and Associates. They do all of this for you. They actually did a pretty good job, but they charged 50% of the savings, and I really didn't like their lack of communication. This year, I found this one. This is called Ownwell, and down in the pinned comment in the description, I've got a bunch of links for you guys to save a ton of money. I spent way too much money getting my butt kicked here in Texas, and I am going to save you guys a ton of money. I have a referral code in here where you guys can save a bunch of money to use Ownwell to fight your property taxes, and they only charge 25%. I am not paid by them, nothing. I am just giving you real life experience, and this actually did a great job for me this year on both of my properties, and I highly recommend them. So down in the description and the pinned comment, I will give you a referral link. I don't get anything from it. You guys get the benefits. Now, you do have the ability to fight this by yourself, but they do not make it easy. I was going to do it myself. It's a ton of paperwork. You got to show up to the courthouse. I don't like it. These guys are pretty good. And what I actually did is have our real estate team just give me some of the worst or best comps of lowest price homes in the area that match mine, and was able to submit those reports that they could go use. Now, they try to do a lot of that on their own, but again, I would rather do it myself. But either way, I was able to get my property values, some of them down, knocked down $150,000. Like, that is monumental. Anyways, we got to get to a few more of these because it's only going to get worse from here. Next up, more bills. Power bills. This is another thing that I want to talk about because I moved from the Northwest. So these are areas where you didn't use AC units a lot. It was kind of mild and fair weather. You know, what you actually used was, especially in North Idaho, Hayden, where I'm from, was the heater more often. But we had a lot of wood stoves. I had cords of wood. Totally different lifestyle than down here. Here, your AC units are going to be running like crazy. In fact, one of these I'm going to talk about, I keep having massive issues where there's flooding. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, my daughter came down and said, "Dad, there's water pouring out of my doorway." And I'm like, huh? Yeah, a major issue. It happens all the time. I'm going to teach you how to, well, I need to teach myself, obviously, how to not make that happen. But power bills, this is going to cost you thousands of dollars, and I'm going to save you thousands of dollars. And again, guys, I'm not sponsored by these. Like, they don't reach out to me. This is all stuff that I had to figure out. When we moved here to Houston, I had no idea that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of power providers. Isn't that the weirdest thing you've ever heard? I was so used to, no matter where I lived, I just paid the power company, the power bill. That's all you did. Well, here, what they do is they actually have like all these different power companies who are in between, and they deliver your power. So I don't know if they put your power in the back of a pickup and drive it to your house, but you're going to get feed and charged up the wazoo, and it sucks. My first bills when I moved here were $800 to $1,000 a month. And I was like, honey, we can't do this anymore. Well, what I found was energyogre.com, and I also have a list down below, or a link down below for you guys to use where you get like free month of this. They shop my plan. So every year I get a new contract. And the crazy thing is, just this last year, they shopped a new contract for me. My power bill, let's just say it was around like $350 or $400. Yes, they can get $500 here in, the summers easily, especially if you're running 2 or 3 air conditioning units. It was up to $800 or $900 again. I had a 300% increase. I'm like, what in the hell is going on? I've got Energy Ogre. Well, they ended up catching it on their system too. canceled me out of that contract without me doing anything and got me back into another one locked in. So not saying it's perfect every time, but for 5 years now, I've had Energy Ogre. That was the first time it had a hiccup. Other than that, it finds me the best plans every single year. My bill really does not fluctuate much. I don't go up, even though the kilowatt hours and stuff get charged more. This thing, I'm telling you right now, if you go do it yourself, you're going to spend weeks on end trying to find the best plan. So you figure out the plan that works best for you, nights, weekends, free, whatever it is, and then Energy Ogre plans all that out for you. Again, not sponsored. Use my free stuff. Holy moly, we got some Mo stuff here. Let's see what we got. Oh, man. Okay, I will admit this one scared me a little bit when I moved here. It's the bugs, the snakes, and the mosquitoes. In fact, the mosquitoes are the Texas state bird. Did you guys know that? There's about 9,000 mosquitoes per square foot here in Texas. I'm going to just give you the real skinny on this. First of all, I was most terrified about snakes. Again, I grew up in North Idaho. I think I saw like 7 gardener snakes my entire life, and I ran like hell. They're real deal down here. I mean, these are some man-eaters down here in Texas. But the one thing that I have kind of learned or evolved over time is that I'm not looking around for them all the time anymore. You don't see them really as often as you would think, but you will see them more if you are in certain areas. So again, living in the North Houston area, you got the Conroes, even the Magnolias, the Montgomerys, the Tomballs, and then over to the east, northeast, where I'm at, the Atacitas, the Humbles, the Kingwoods, and Crosbys, all that kind of stuff, where there's a lot of trees. You're just going to see them more, especially some of the neighborhoods where you're backed up to the green space. I live in Kingwood, the trees. I got Lake Houston just in my backyard. I get snakes in my backyard. Woke up one morning and had a coral snake right here in the pool. My nephew was playing hide and go seek, decided to hide behind that tree. He looked right into that sago palm, and there was a copperhead snake. I get snakes, I get frogs, I get lizards, I get bunnies, I get hogs, I get deer, I get baby birds. Yeah, we had baby birds all over in our backyard trying to fly the other day. Let me see. We saved the birdie's life.
I need to put him in the glass. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh, there you go. You're all dry now.
But we got a lot of nature out there, and the snakes are the one thing that kind of scare me the most. And yes, some are poisonous. So I ended up getting some snake grabbers. For the most part, you don't see too many, and I've taught my kids, hey, when you're outside, just look around, right? But I would also say there's many parts of Kingwood, and I know a lot of people in there who don't see them at all. They're more in the neighborhoods, in the cul-de-sacs. I just happen to back up to a big green space. But for the most part, you're not going to see too many of them. Now, the more you go out hiking and walking on trails and stuff, you'll see them. But hey, there's snakes here. The one thing that I'd learned, they're not always coming after me and trying to kill me, even though I thought that when I first moved here. But I would say what the bigger issue is, and again, it doesn't affect me as much. Like, I'm not allergic to ant bites and those kind of things, but my wife is. My wife, we found out, I did some research, and I'm like, why does my wife get bit by mosquitoes and bugs? We can sit together and I might get one and she'll get like 1,000. It looks like she played goalie for a dart team or something. She just got bumps and stuff. The other night we were out, poor girl, and it was like 2 nights ago, and she got hit right here by a mosquito. And I mean, it was some unicorn cone stuff, and it's just unfortunate. In fact, here's a picture. My wife actually if she gets bit by a red ant, these things, or a fire ant, I mean, these things are microscopic. Her foot will swell 3 times the size. She can't even walk on it. So now she keeps steroid pens, steroid cream for that. For me, I get bit by red ants or whatever, and I just get these like little pimples. It's just like a little zit type thing. So it affects people differently. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Just the other day, massive red ant nest there. I killed it, and just one day later, look at this. Okay, I wear a size 13 shoe, and now if I kick this thing, boy, look at that. They are so tiny, but they will light you up. And then we found out, I guess people who are like type O blood type, they attract mosquitoes more. It could just be females do it more. A few lessons that we've learned. One, you got to get yourself a thermocell. I moved down here and everybody's like, man, get yourself a thermocell. And I'm like, a thermo who? And what you can go to Amazon and buy thermocells. These are little cartridges. So when I go hunting a lot, I bring a thermocell, and it just has this little odor type that you don't smell it or anything. But we put those outside as well. They make the mosquitoes go bye-bye. The other thing is we just have some light fans going around. In fact, you'll go to restaurants around here and they'll have these kind of like rubber fans spinning on the tables. It just keeps the mosquitoes away. A lot of people out back, they're just going to have light fans kind of blowing everywhere, so it just keeps the mosquitoes away. And then we have a mosquito system. It was with our house when we bought it. That is something that sprays once a day. All right, so here we are too. This is the 50-gallon drum filled with bug juice, and it goes up this line into, you can see these little nozzles here. So that lines my entire house. So the entire house has that line. It's really clean looking. See how it goes over, and then it goes all the way around the roof. So that sprays. It actually goes over to the fence there. So it's on the fence, actually behind it. Okay, so you can see right through the fence right there. There's a spray nozzle too. So those come out every about 8 feet or so, 6 feet. And you have those little spray nozzles. So twice a day, it gets for about 3-4 seconds. And it sprays for the mosquitoes. If the bug company charges you, it's like $250 to fill up a 55-gallon tank. They do it every 3 to 4 or 5 months, something like that. I found the same stuff that they have on Amazon for $50, so I just pour the liquid in there, fill it with water, and for $50, I do the same thing. So mosquito systems, but the bugs, they can definitely affect people differently, but I gotta show you something. This was in my garage the other day. All right, so you get these bugs. Doesn't look like much until you get down. This is a 1-inch coupler in my hand, and you actually can see the size of these honkers. Are you kidding me? That, I mean, you can see the definition in Homeboy's quads right there. Let's see if we can skid him out of the old garage. Listen to him, sounds like a, oh, and you gotta wear Crocs in Texas, it's mandatory. Jamie Christmas. Oh, just kidding. I would say just the other parts of bugs, it's totally different down here. I mean, compared to where I'm from. But I do remember in Idaho, we had some of the biggest, baddest spiders on the planet, and a lot of mice and stuff, especially in the wintertime. In the winter, it was so cold, they were always in the house. So wintertime, man, it gets a little happening up in North Idaho. But we got a few more of these that we got to get to, guys. And before I do that, I need to just ask you one thing. If you would, comment down below, what is the one thing that you're most terrified or scared about living in Texas? That way, when I do these videos again, I know. Secondly, we do videos every single Saturday. I know you guys are used to our big vlogs and doing that, but I have to do these videos just once a year or so. Every Saturday morning at 8 a.m., we release our big vlog. We shoot every suburb, every city, every master plan community and show you the best deals on massive new construction homes and just homes in general here. So make sure you guys subscribe. And if you're trying to figure out the best areas for you to live, we have a Wednesday show at 5 p.m. Central, which is called Mapping Your Move to Houston. That's one of the most important things, trying to figure out where to live. So subscribe, guys. Make sure you guys are subscribing to get all of these videos. Don't miss them. Now, let's get back to the old bucket here. I like how these are surprising me because I got to give you my natural reaction. Okay, this is something you're definitely going to run into. Traffic and construction. So the reason I put construction in there is because it goes hand in hand. Every single season here is construction season. It never, ever ends. Traffic can be just devastating, right? It's unbelievable. And again, I come from a small town. In fact, my small town isn't small anymore. There's way too many people there, and the traffic there is insane. But here, you got to realize that everything is 30, 45 minutes away. Like there's just nothing that's close, right? So you're gonna have to have vehicles. Now, once you're in your master plan community suburb, there is walkability and parks and all that kind of stuff, golf carts. But if you gotta get anywhere, especially me, I got 3 kids from the ages of 5 to 13. I got a teenager now. We are constantly on the road for soccer, for basketball, for all sorts of events all the time. And that, you know, not including just what we got to do for daily life. And you're going to have to learn traffic patterns. You're going to realize that there's so much construction going on at all times that you're down to 1 or 2 lanes and it can be a mess. This is probably the most important aspect. If you are, you know, trying to find out where to live and then you're going to be working somewhere, you know, outside of that area, you have got to focus in on areas that are closer so that you're not stuck in traffic for 45 minutes to an hour 15 each way every day. This is actually something we do with our clients. Make it mandatory. We got to figure out what you like, what you don't like, and where are you going to be commuting to, because it is that important. Now, construction, here's the thing that no locals talk about. Maybe they take it for granted, but I think I've had one flat tire in my life, like 36 years. And I don't even remember like my parents getting flat tires. Like it just was like, it didn't happen. Here, I got plugs in all of my tires. I get nails and bolts. My wife's front tire right now is leaking. I got to go get that fixed. You will get more screws and bolts and crap in your tires than you could imagine. And I think it's just because there's so much construction. And I'm not even talking about road construction, just homes and contractors. I mean, if you're on a freeway, you're going to see 50 contractor cars, plumbers and framers and all. There's just nails and screws and debris all over these roads too. So the thing that you need to find is a little tire shop. What I like to do is I drive, I know where mine are now, but they usually have big yellow and red like tractor tires, and they spray paint those things. And they, have little tire shops. Just they're all over Houston. You pull in there, and typically for like $5-10, they'll just put a plug in your tire, and they work amazing. So then you're not going to the big box brand and spending like $50 to get a plug in your tire. Or hey, you should get all new tires. Just get that baby plug, but that's going to be the big issue. Okay, we got 3 left, guys. 3, oh my gosh. Okay, this is another one. Probably one of the things I was most scared about was heat and humidity. Okay, I come from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Well, Hayden, Idaho. I come from a lot of snow. It would snow sometimes as late as like June. I'd seen snow before, but typically it was that March, April, you would get like a 60-degree day, and then the next day it just snows like 7 feet. And you're like, I hate my life. And then, you could see it as early as September. So we dealt with a lot of that snow. And then you just couldn't wait for those summer months. Here's the thing about the United States and, everywhere I've been. It's hot in the summertime no matter where you go. There's multiple days in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where we set a record it was like 6-7 years ago, where it was 100 degrees for like 17 days straight. So hot is hot. Now, the humidity, that ain't no joke. You can't find no shade tree. It can sneak up onto there. But it is real deal. It is hot here. It gets very hot. It gets stingy hot. And after those freak rainstorms, which we've had a lot of them this summer, about an hour later, when everything clears up and that sun comes back out again, yes, wait 5 minutes and the weather changes here in Texas. That is going to be the most humid it can get. It's like opening up a oven when you're cooking a pizza and that blast hits you. That's how hot it gets. But it is completely, really perception. And for me personally, I'm not going to go, oh, well, it's just not that bad. No, it is hot here. Holy cow, it is freaking hot here. And the inside of your vehicle, my goodness, or your freaking attic upstairs, it's like the hottest thing I've ever felt in my life. So you have to get used to that heat. You don't always get used to it, but I am at a different part of life now to where I do have 3 young kids. We're very active. We're outdoors all the time. And how much time that North Idaho robbed me of that. Yes, I snowmobiled. Yes, I ice fished. Yes, I snowed and skied, but you can't do that every day for 6 months straight. And to be honest, I was working. So during the entire week, I'm outside working in those conditions, and it's tough. The last thing I want to do when I get home is go back out into the cold and miserable stuff. So my kids also, they kind of get trapped inside a lot with all the snow, the slush, the rain. They lose all their gloves and a boot by December. That was just difficult for me. So I love the year-round heat. You will typically never see me in pants. I love wearing shorts. I freaking love warm weather. I am absolutely in love with it, but the summer times here are brutal. Here's what happens though. I have learned, it was like 3 summers ago, by like May 5th, May 10th, it was 103 degrees already, and it never stopped. That was one of the driest summers in the history of Texas for like 100 years. So hopefully we don't see one of those again in a long time. But typically what's happened the other 3 or 4 summers that I've been here is up until through like June, you're going to get obviously some scorching ass hot days, but then you're going to get some like rainstorms and some cooler days and some cloud coverage. And it just kind of like mixes in, and it helps to like break the monotony, right? It's just like in Idaho when it's just -10 to -20 for 2 weeks straight. You're like, oh my gosh, I just want to see 0 degrees. That would be amazing. That would be like a heat wave. And that's really what happens here. So most of the summers, you're going to see a lot of rain and rainstorms through June. And then about July, August, those are going to be just clock it in. It may not even drop below 82 degrees at night, and it's very humid, but we're fortunate enough we got a house with a pool. That was like my main condition. Well, I did move to the wrong area. That sucked, but cul-de-sac and a pool, and we found it. And that is, you know, what we do. We live in these pools. And the best part, I love every February. Once we get out of that, you know, we'll usually have one cold snap. We've heard of some Texas freezes here. It lasts about 2-3 days. It'll be 70, 75 degrees in the middle to end of February. And I always post these videos on my Instagram of like us doing pool parties, and all my friends from Idaho, all the holidays are done, you know, all the cuteness of the snow's done. And they're just like, oh, it's so miserable. It's been so cold here. I need to move to Texas. I can't believe you're freaking swimming in February. I love it, right? But it's hot. You're either going to hate it or not. And if you don't like humidity and heat, why are you even thinking about moving down here? Now, you might have to for work, but that's a whole different issue. The majority of people are moving down here, opportunity for reasoning, for better lifestyle, and you're going to get that. All right, we were cracking down. Here we go. And yeah, this one I didn't know. I didn't even expect. This was not something that when I was moving here, I even thought about. It's the allergies. And I'm actually kind of glad that we waited till the end on this. You're like, oh, allergies, who cares? This is actually probably the only thing that affects me physically. When I moved here, I remember waking up one day, it felt like I drank like 370 Keystones. I swallowed a hedgehog and I got hit in the head with a hammer. Like, I woke up and I'm like, what? And I might have, I don't know. But I woke up and I'm like, dude, my throat hurt so bad and I was so tired. And I didn't know what it was. I just thought like maybe I had some kind of, you know, sickness or whatever. But it happened like 3 months later. And then I was like explaining that to somebody like, yeah, man, that's the allergies here. And when you drive down the road, like during the springtime, when I think there's like 7 blooming seasons here. It just stuff explodes. Like 1 week, you know, I remember like June, July, it's already mid of summer, but all of a sudden, like some of our trees in the backyard just boom, they just blow up and they bloom and there's purple flowers and it's pretty. But man, that's when you start feeling it. So the allergies, I never had allergies a day in my life. They never bothered me. And when I got down here, it was like every 3 months. And you would drive, I remember driving through like Kingwood, and you have all these ponds. Everywhere you go in Houston, there's ponds, retention ponds. And it was green. Green is the Grinch. And I'm talking a layer. Your car, film. So that's something you have to get used to. In fact, I looked up one day, like, I don't remember the numbers, but what the allergy numbers are. And, you know, with the normal numbers at like 200 or something. And one time we were at like 12,000. Like, that's how ridiculous the allergies get here. I have realized now 5-6 years here that it's hitting me less and less. My body's getting used to it. The other thing that I really started doing was I buy local raw unfiltered honey, and I have it almost every day. One, because it's good. Second of all, that's what I heard from so many people was, you know, eat the raw unfiltered local honey from your area. That could be helping me as well. But the allergies I've noticed for like, you know, my family, and I have a lot of like family friends that we have and their kids, they really get affected by them. Now, this is the craziest part I didn't know is I was like, how could you not live in an area where there's not all the trees, the gorgeous lake? And it's, you know, for me, and being a Northwest kid, that's what I wanted, right? But there's a lot of people who move out to the west side of Houston. It's definitely more open. There's not a lot of trees. I was like, I just didn't like that. I didn't like that look. Even though like Katy, Texas, some of those areas are the most popular cities and suburbs and highest rated in Houston, it just doesn't hit me. Like, I just don't like it without the trees. But a lot of people are like, well, I don't like those allergies. Now, there are areas of Katy, if you go into the Cinco ranches and some of those that are developed 15, 20, 25 years, they've got the big oak trees that they planted when they developed them, and they're big and tall and nice. But yeah, if you are going to live in the north, all the areas that are really exploding, you know, the Conroes and over here to the Kingwoods and all that kind of area, Magnolia, Montgomery, you're going to notice that the allergies are going to kick yo butt. All right, we get into the last one. I don't even remember what the heck this one was. I'm trying to find it in here. It's stuck to the side. Oh my gosh. Guys, this is really important, and it's actually something that happened to me. So when we moved here, we didn't have any of these videos. There was just a bunch of general blogs out there, typically from like nationwide moving companies, and I was trying to get a feel for where to live. And we ended up moving to the wrong spot. Some of you know that story, some of you don't, but moving to the wrong area. You guys might think, oh, well, that's dumb. No, it's not. This is the second largest city in the entire country. It is impossible to find the perfect spot. We thought we were there, and it is a great area. We loved it. But as time went on, as weeks went on, I started to realize we just don't fit in here. This is not what we thought, what we signed up for. And then it started to eat at me. Well, now my kids are in the school systems for 2 years. They got all these friends. I told them we're never moving again. We got the dream home. Everything's good to go. And one day I had to yank the rug out from under them. Guys, we got to move. Now we ended up going up to where we're at now. And I'm like, this is exactly what I want for my children. And they're honestly who we do this for, right? So if you're moving here, retired, you're an empty nester. Again, you don't want to be in some of these, you want to be where it fits you. I'm telling you right now, when I had to tell my kids we were moving, the tears, it ate me alive. Did they thank me now? Absolutely. Every day. They have the greatest childhood. The childhood they have in this Kingwood area, I'm telling you right now, riding their bikes, the 350 miles or the 75 miles of trails all throughout, that's what I wanted for them. They never are inside. They're never on electronics. They literally play every day. That's what we found. It's impossible for you to figure it out on your own. That is what we do here as the original Living in Houston, Texas team. That's why I started this channel, was to help you guys, just like me, move here and know what areas fit you. That's why we do all of our vlog tours and everything. But the number one thing we do and have done forever, being the number one and top relocation team, is we help you. That is our contact information right there. That is our number. That is our email that gets directly to us. We book a one-on-one private Zoom call with you. We listen to you. We don't tell you where we think. We listen to you, what you like, what you don't like, and we help to place you in the perfect spot. Guys, I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of people, thousands of reviews. They love this system. If you're even moving here for relocation for work, guess what? We are nationally certified with relocation, so we can take care of all of that as well. Even if they already have a relocation company for you, hey, reach out. Sometimes there's ways that we can work with you as well. We know every city, every suburb inside and out, and we love more than anything helping you to find that. And the number one video that you guys have commented on, emailed us and called us and texted us and messaged us that you love the most is right here. If you're trying to figure out where to live in Houston, Texas, you will never, ever, 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 ever find a video that goes in more detail of every city and suburb than this video right here. You're going to know every area you would love, and most importantly, all the areas you would hate to live. Watch that video right there.